What's up YouTube, Jeff back again from SammyGuru.com here, and today another very exciting Samsung video for you guys. And today I want to talk more One UI 8.5. You guys know I'm running the latest test build, CYJ7, and I want to talk more about the adaptive clock because there's actually a nice change that Samsung made that I didn't discuss in my previous rundown, which is that they've now made the adaptive clock work with any wallpaper, not just people or animals. And so this animation is nice and smooth. There's still some bugs and still a few restrictions and pieces of feedback that I want to give to Samsung, but I wanted to show this to you guys because it is pretty cool that they now have this working with all different wallpapers. It's not just restricted to people and animals like it was before. Before we get started, I do want to remind you guys, make sure you check out the website, SammyGuru.com. You can bookmark the site, set us as a preferred source in Google News and Google Discover, so you get all of our latest content. We cover the latest Samsung news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. And if you're in the US, you can tap on the orange banner at the top, get in our mystery box program. You get a free case, cleaning kit, screen protector, desktop phone stand, 65-watt charger, and USB-C wired earbuds when you pre-order the Galaxy S26 through our affiliate link. All you have to do is put in your phone number, email, or both. You'll get a link to join SammyGuru Rewards closer to the launch. Use our affiliate link to order on launch day. We cover the shipping cost, all the items. You guys pay nothing additional. And it also helps fund our great coverage here on YouTube and paying our staff over on the website. Check that out below. We do love to give back to you guys and do these things every single launch. So it's always a lot of fun. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the adaptive clock. So as you guys know, Samsung came with this adaptive clock idea in One UI 8, and it was one of the most interesting user-facing features because it really does have a cool visual element. Samsung wanted to kind of make it stand out apart from what Apple was doing with their lock screen. And so I think they did a nice job, but it's had a lot of bugs since the launch, and we've documented them here at SammyGuru. And one of the big problems was that previously this clock only worked if you had a person or an animal as your wallpaper. Now, as you guys can see, I set this wallpaper here of colored pencils. You guys know my previous videos, I'm a big colored pencil fan. I got this one from Thematica, one of my favorite wallpaper apps, and now it adapts very well to things that are not just people or animals. But there are still some bugs and limitations that I want to point out, and also I want to talk about this feature down here, because this feature right here, this water drop, actually allows the color of your clock to adapt to the background. Now I have a black background here. I'll set a different wallpaper in a second. You guys can see the differences. This will give you like a frosted glass look on your clock face. But as you can see, you know, you've got a lot of different styles. Still, when it comes to the adaptive clock, you really have these two styles you can work with here. You see you've got this style and that style. Those are the two that really adapt. If you choose the other styles, you don't get adaptive, right? So you have to choose these first two. This is the one that seems to work the best for me, the horizontal, but you also have the vertical. But I've noticed with One UI 8.5, the vertical one doesn't adapt perfectly because you see here it's covering the red colored pencil. And also if you set it sometimes, let's see, sometimes it won't work perfectly. If you set it, the position will actually change. So Samsung still has some work to do there, particularly with the vertical one. It seems like it doesn't always adapt the way it should, particularly depending on the size that you choose. You can see it's not really adapting very robustly. I found that the horizontal one does a better job. And keep in mind, it also depends on what object you choose when it comes to the background. So since these all have the points of the pencils going up, the horizontal one makes a little more sense to how it's going to adapt. And then of course, the always on display animation looks very cool with these clocks. I think they've improved those quite a bit. The way it animates, especially with that subtle fade in and fade out that Samsung's added in One UI 8.5, which is more similar to the Pixel. Let's try downloading a different one, and let's just see. This Thematica, these wallpapers here are very cool with the colored pencils, but let's try something a little bit different just to show that this can now adapt to pretty much anything. Let's try some scenery. I don't know. This one is not really a person, it's just a piece of scenery. Let's try to go through and set the wallpaper. Now, from what I can tell, the problem still exists. It's not really a problem. Samsung's computing all of this in the app. So if you try to set your wallpaper through a third-party app like Thematica, you won't be able to use the adaptive clock. That is still the case. So here, to get the frosted glass effect, by the way, you have to set this to white first, and then you turn on the water droplet. That'll give you the frosted glass. Now let's see here if we can get this to adapt. Let's go back in here and see if we can get it to work. See, sometimes it doesn't work with everything yet. Sometimes you have to choose a particular style. Like, let's see if I do the mountainside. So you can see there are still some restrictions. Samsung definitely still has some work to do with these clocks, because you can see that this doesn't necessarily work every time. And you can see here the color adapted from the wallpaper and then doing the frosted glass. But this adaptive clock not really working here in this instance. It should adapt to this mountainside, but it doesn't really do a very good job. So you really still have to play with this quite a bit. I would say it's not perfect. You can actually see, though, now you see how it's not animating. If it doesn't think that there's enough in the picture to actually allow the adaptive clock, it now won't show that animating number. Previously in One UI 8, it would show that animating number and then it just wouldn't work. So now at least you know which ones work and which ones don't. But for sure, Samsung has expanded, at the very least, they've expanded the types of wallpapers you can use. Anything that has, like a bunch of elements to which a clock can adapt to, like these points of the pencil, it will allow you to do it, not just people and animals. Anyway, I think Samsung's doing a great job with the lock screen One UI 8.5. I really like where they're headed. They've obviously dedicated themselves to this concept of the adaptive clock, and I do think it's unique, and I applaud what they're doing, not just copying Apple, which is great. Great to see that. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, still a lot of work to do here. One UI 8.5 beta is going to start in November, and of course, we'll be bringing official coverage of that, plus any other test builds that come out between now and then. Check out the website for more great coverage and the mystery box, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.